We're doing well. Excited for where we are today. We were able to officially announce really the staff and really the whole organization, how we're changing some things, what we're looking to do, what we're looking to accomplish with some of the new rule changes that are in place, and to really be able to create it like an NFL model. And we've talked a lot about that over the last 5 years that I've been a head coach now, that we've always said we've prided ourselves on trying to create a 33rd NFL team mentality. We've tried to make sure that we've always created the best opportunity for our players to be able to be treated like NFL players the best we possibly could, with our investments in their nutrition, our investments in their strength and conditioning, our investments in the training room, and then our investments in our coaching staff and our personnel department. Really excited how that's shaped up. The new rules have allowed more coaches to be able to have hands-on. We don't necessarily have the same regulations as we used to have regarding who can coach, who can't coach, who's capable of being on the field, with the guys helping them get better. So we've really taken on that NFL model in regards to having quality control coaches, assistant position coaches, coordinators, and the head coach. And in the same way, we have created our personnel department to mirror that. And with our personnel department, we're very fortunate that we've got some guys that have a lot of experience, as well as some guys from Seattle. So we've been able to also announce that group and be able to talk about having a senior personnel director, having a director of player personnel, an assistant director of player personnel, assign people to be responsible for what I call director of college scouting, which really is the person that's responsible for the portal and watching who's going in the portal, who's coming out of the portal. And then also director of high school recruiting. We were able to bring in Jaleel Wadu for that role. And try to get somebody that was a five-star player coming out, a five-star athlete, knows what that whole deal looks like, from Southern California, from the Trinity League. Be able to bring in a director of recruiting like Marcus Griffin, somebody that's from the Seattle area, somebody that played Division I football at University of Arizona, somebody that has been doing this personnel department and recruiting world for a while, and then be able to bring in, like I mentioned, the director of college scouting. I'll bring in Silas Clapham, who's also a Bellevue High School guy, who was the director of player personnel in Hawaii most recently. So for us to be able to build this up, we're also able to have a coordinator of recruiting operations. We're also able to have somebody focus in on the analytics and the NIL space. As we mentioned earlier, when we brought in Cameron Foster, we have somebody that has that salary cap experience. I feel like we really are now structured in a way that if we all just picked up and got dropped off as the 33rd NFL team, we'd be capable to be able to run it as such. And that has been our goal. So we also have, obviously, I believe, one of the best strength programs in the nation. We're also continuing to add a couple pieces here and there, senior staffer in terms of overseeing the football administration side. We're hoping to get to that at some point here soon, and also some other football operations positions that will also just continue to enhance everything we're trying to get done. But we really want this to be as close to a professional organization as we can, to be able to give the college students the best opportunity they can to be successful. And as we're moving into revenue share, we believe that this is the best way to do that. And to have Pat and Aaron's support in creating this model our way, and not the way other programs do it and other schools do it, we feel we've put ourselves in the best possible position.
Are your 10 coaches who can recruit off campus, is that just going to be the position coaches and I guess the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, that's something that is still up for discussion. There are no, right now, until we go out on the road, we don't have to designate which 10 are going to go out on the road. And then once we make that designation, that is a 12-month designation from what I understand. So we'll work directly with compliance to make sure that once we determine which 10 we do want to send on the road, those will be the designated 10 for recruiting. Right now, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't have the position coaches that you're referring to. It'll be Odum and not Van Horn in terms of recruiting at this moment, just because of Coach Odum's vast experience being on the road, recruiting in Southern California area, recruiting in some of our other hotspots that we've done, Texas. But we're still looking at that and still going to really see what's the best plan of attack. And there might be some couple guys that we may pull off and put on as our designated 10, but right now I don't think so.
Jedd, you've always embraced and been excited about the NFL model ever since you've been a college coach. Does that give you an advantage over some of your colleagues that have kind of pushed back against it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope so. I hope it gives us an advantage. I'm not sure. One thing that we've always wanted to do is we've wanted that to be our, what we're known as, right? We wanted to really embrace that. We're really excited. Our coaching clinic that's coming up April 4th and 5th. Mike Shanahan is going to be the keynote for Friday. Sean McVay is going to be the keynote for Saturday. We're going to bring Chris Shula in to speak, who's the defensive coordinator of the Rams, the grandson of Don Shula. Those three guys will all be speaking at our clinic here in Seattle. And that's just another opportunity for our players to be around that some of the NFL greats. Mike Shanahan, obviously, I've talked to numerous times as the godfather of the offense that so many of us are running right now. So we'll continue to use those relationships and be able to hopefully continue to learn from the best, really, that have ever done it. Certainly, Howie Roseman will speak to our team here shortly and continue to embrace. We'll continue to embrace that pro model, and hopefully that will be an advantage.
Were you surprised that Robert Bala decided to take a different position, given the last time you spoke to us, it was on the day that Brennan left? Did you have any inkling that he was going to leave, and then the decision to bring in Odum, just what was it about him? You kind of touched on the recruiting aspect.
Yeah, I think every coach makes the decision that they think is best for them and their family at the time, and we wish Coach Bala all the best. When it comes to Coach Odum, really, there was a few things that stood out for us to hire Coach Odum. The first thing was the fact that him and Coach Walters worked together. So there was a relationship they had at Missouri where they both knew one another. The second one was the amount of elite recruits that Coach Odum has brought to Oklahoma and USC in his time coaching linebackers at both those programs. The final part was the fact that he was a scholarship athlete playing at Oklahoma, the experience he had of playing at the highest level as an elite player. I thought that also continued to bring more credibility to the staff and to the program. I think all of those areas fit great together. Talking to coaches that have worked with him before, head coaches that I know very well, as well as assistant coaches, they all love his work ethic. They love his character. They love his family. We feel really fortunate to bring he and his wife and their kids here to Seattle. And he also has experience as a play caller. He's called 8 different games throughout his tenures, becoming interim defensive coordinator at 3 different places. And we just felt like he would be a perfect fit for the development of our linebackers.
Jedd, you talk about doing this your way and creating the football team, the organization your way. What is it that's different compared to some other schools?
Well, I don't know, if we have enough time for that. No, I'm kidding. I think that we all want to create the program that is the best fit for who we are. And, we are very family-oriented. I think that's a reflection on the fact that when we moved from Tucson a year ago, 23 coaches and their families and staff members all picked up and moved to Seattle. I think you could see that from the fact of how many players chose to come here 1 year later or initially. I think they see how they get treated. We are very player-centric in our commitment to making sure that every conversation that I have with Aaron and Pat is about how does this impact the players in the best way possible? Can we get them more? Can we get them more access to the best health and medicine and science possible? Can we continue to invest in off-field equipment and sports science? Can we continue to invest in massage therapy and nutrition? I think the uniqueness of what we try to get done is our investment in the kids. I also believe having a staff that has been together as long as we have at 2 different jobs. I don't know how many people can, say that they're in their 5th year, working with 7 different coaches, 2 different jobs. We only have 10 full-time coaches, let's say, and 6 of them have been with me for 5 years, or 4 years and 5 years. And then another 4, I think, have been with me for 4 years as GAs and now have either moved up in certain capacities. I think that's a reflection of the type of program that we run. We certainly do talk about the NFL a lot, and what we've tried to do is make sure that our players are constantly given the opportunity to be in front of pro coaches, to be around pro coaches, to be around former players. We welcome and open our building to that. And then finally, I would say the uniqueness of our program is our 5th quarter Life After Football program. I don't know how many other programs have invested the $1 million or $2 million that we have in building an entire program around Life After Football, a leadership development room upstairs, making sure that we're fully committed, having a group out of Houston that comes in and works directly with our players in terms of everything from money management to resume building to leadership. So I think they'll all really the kind of what all encompasses our program is that we look at the 360-degree person, not just the football player.
Jedd, while you've been really supportive of your guys that have even left, going back to family situations or taking promotions to be co-defensive coordinators, you still lost 40% of your core coaching staff. Any concern on your behalf over the continuity and the recruiting end of it when so many guys moved on all of a sudden at once?
No, not really. I think that, obviously the situation with Brennan and with Steve is, I think it's wonderful for our kids to see it. The fact that they now know that there's more and stronger relationships with Coach Carroll being back in the NFL, that gives all of our kids that have come here or played through here really a direct line to the Raiders. I think that the fact that Steve went to work for Coach is awesome. The fact that Coach and I have a tremendous relationship is fantastic for these kids. And then, there's also a great thing to show our staff that we're willing to promote from within, that if people leave, our goal is to continue to build our program up. And that's what you'll continue to see. We were able to promote Mike Switzer. So all those guys that Brennan was recruiting were also recruited by Mike Switzer. And now those kids feel like, wow, this is the guy that was really a big part of my recruitment. And now it's his chance. It's his turn. I think the players love to see that. I think our offense was really excited when I was able to announce Jimmy as the offensive coordinator and not just go try to find somebody that may or may not know what we're doing to be in there. And the kids were excited about that promotion and that opportunity for him. Jimmy's been with me for 7 years. What a great opportunity to show my loyalty to him, his loyalty back to us. But it's also a compliment when people want to hire people off your staff. It means that you're doing it right, and it means that people are seeing the successes that they're having, and we're very happy for Coach Bala and Coach Inseri in that regard.
Between the on-field positions and the personnel and recruiting department, about how many full-time positions do you think you guys added in just from last season's stuff?
I think we added 11 full-time positions in total, if I remember correctly. And I think that's going to come from personnel that's in coaching, let's call it analysts / quality control / assistant position coaches. We've continued to add in our sports science world by having Ben Kramer, now the director of sports science. We added a couple of administrative roles. We've moved Joyce Harrell to a chance to be more of our director of community engagement. And we felt like the fact that she has so many ties in the community, she'll do a fantastic job in her communication with the community as well as with families. So to be able to kind of build this up, we're probably at about 60 people now within football. And that's kind of what's going on in the world. And as we've done a lot of research, myself, Pat, Aaron, and some others in our competitors, and how are people building their programs, and it really is looking more and more like a professional model where you really need the business side, the football side, and the personnel side, and you need to all work together to have great success. And that player development side has become a huge part as well, with Coach Steptoe and Cam Elisera, and Joyce will fall in that category as well.
Jedd, with all of these new additions, what changes the most operationally for you guys from last year to this year?
Sleep. No, I get a little bit more. I think what changes the most is our players will get better. That's what changes the most. The fact that it will be able to evaluate players at a higher level, because we'll have more people helping in the evaluation. We'll be able to recruit at a higher level because we'll have more people being able to get touch points out there. I would say that was a detriment compared to some of the programs that we were competing with. We needed to be able to build that department up so that those high school kids and transfers feel that same amount of touch points as they were getting from the competitors. We're trying to get in the CFP. If we're going to try to get to the CFP, we've got to look at our competitors being Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, USC, Georgia, Alabama, programs like that. And if those guys are going to be our competitors, then we need to make sure that we're, matching them with effort and with personnel. And then in terms of our coaching, the development of our high school players, one of the things that I've made a huge point of emphasis is we want to continue to build our program through high school recruiting. I've never heard an NFL head coach say, we want to build our team through free agency. They want to build it through the draft. In the same regard, we want to build our program through high school recruiting. To do that, we felt like we get more hands on them. More people are able to now communicate with them. So to bring in a J.P. Lossman as our assistant quarterback coach, the guy's a first-round pick. The guy played in the NFL. The guy was, played at 4 different NFL teams. Now you bring in high school quarterbacks. Who better to train them, while then the other focus for Jimmy might be to be able to spend his time with getting Damon the best Damon can be. And that's how we felt like we could do that all the way across the board. So the more assistants we were able to bring in, now we're able to have a guy assigned to every position group. And to be able to do that, all of our younger players were going to benefit.
What went into the decision to separate tight end coach and special teams coordinator and bring in Chris Petrillo?
Again, it really came down to our evaluation of the NFL model. And there's no NFL team that has a special teams coordinator responsible for a position. And that reason why is that it's so much time, it's so much work. And as I think you'll see the other CFP programs that we're competing against, they have all also gone to the model of, this is our special teams coordinator, this is our linebacker coach, or this is our tight end coach. We felt as if there's also no NFL team that doesn't have an assistant special teams coach. And as we're trying to build our model out with with that in mind, we felt like we needed 2. We wanted 2 people solely committed. We wanted 2 people that have coordinated before, and that's in Coach Petrillo and Coach Froelich, have both been coordinators. I had a chance to coach Greg Froelich at Michigan, so I had a personal relationship with him. And we felt that to be able to have those 2 guys fully committed to the development of our special teams will be a lot better in that area. And we don't want that area neglected. We need the offense to be great, we need the defense to be great, and we need special teams to be great in the Big Ten.
Hey, Jedd, you're trying to be an NFL, you can say that, but how important is the messaging from you all the way down to those high school players you're bringing in? And to that end, kind of, what have you learned about yourself that you need to continue to improve in that messaging of your organization now?
I'm not sure exactly. the difference in the messaging that we have. Our message is very clear to high school recruits. You come here if you want to go play in the NFL. You come here if you want to be treated like a pro. You're going to graduate from one of the top 10 academic institutions in the country. You're going to compete for championships. If you look at what we've done in the past, we've won, and we've won with good players and great character. And that's never going to change. We've never had a problem recruiting high school players. We'll continue to recruit elite high school players. High school players want to come here. And they want to come here because they know that if they do come here, they're going to be coached at a very, very high level. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be viewed in a manner of being the most ready to play at the next level. And they get to play against Ohio State. They get to play against Oregon. They get to play against Michigan. They get to play against Wisconsin. They get to play against Illinois. They get to play against Rutgers. And why wouldn't you want to come here and be a part of that?
Well, you're seeing the term general manager, title general manager used a lot across college football now. You still use director of player personnel, senior director of player personnel. Do you see any difference between those two roles? Is it just a naming thing? How do you kind of look at that? I
see it different. So it's harder for me to get my head around that role, that title, let's call it, because when I see a general manager, that general manager is responsible for numerous things outside of personnel at the programs that I've been to in the National Football League. Howie Roseman's only job is not picking the players. I would say when Les Snead's only job is not picking the players. And you can go down the list of different GMs I've been with. The GMs are responsible for the strength and conditioning, for the medical, for the health and wellness. They're dealing with the trainers. They're dealing with the equipment room. That's not what we're asking Matt to do. We're asking Matt Doherty to be fully focused on how to run a personnel department and how to make sure that we do the best job possible in recruiting, the best job possible in evaluation, the best job possible in understanding how to communicate the salary cap. And those are the things that, revenue share, whatever you want to call that, cap, mentality. And that's a full-time job. And I don't want to take Matt away from the day-to-day of that job to create some title that I don't believe we need right now.
What is it about Martell Irby that kind of so attractive? Because it sounds like he was with you for one season in Arizona, but seriously had an impact on your program. What is he going to bring to the team?
Martell Irby is one of the most special people that I've ever been around. He is a human lightning rod of energy, of positive enthusiasm. His life story is incredible that I hope you guys get to have a chance to interview him and spend some time and listen to what made, what inspired Martell to be who he is today. The fact that we brought him in, he was probably 20 pounds overweight when we brought him in at Arizona as a walk-on after being a graduate of UCLA. And he gave everything he had. He went from an overweight walk-on to a captain to the MVP of the Alamo Bowl to probably the most inspirational player we had on our team in a matter of 8 months. And when I thought about the opportunity to bring him here, it was truly a gift that he accepted. And what he is going to do for our team, for our culture, to be around our players, what they're going to learn from him in terms of resilience, in terms of acting like a pro, in terms of originality. It's everything we possibly could ever ask for in a person.
One or two more?
Is everything status quo with your players, injury-wise, or everybody still on the roster?
Yeah, I think what you guys have gotten most up to date is there's no changes. We'll do one of these the Monday before we start spring ball will be our next time that we all get together, which would be, April 1st. And we'll give you guys the roster, the depth chart. I do expect close to 95 participants in spring ball, which I believe will probably be about 20 to 25 more than we had a year ago in participants. I'm very hopeful, knock on wood, of course, that we stay healthy and we're ready to go, but we had very minimal postseason surgeries. So I do feel very confident that we should have a great spring ball, much more competitive in terms of having more big men. You know, O-line, D-line, we have, I think, close to 15 offensive linemen here right now working out, 15 to 18 defensive linemen. So we should be able to have really good work. We're going to get after it. You know, we're going to be open to you guys every single day of spring ball, open to the public, anyone that wants to come, open to you guys for the clinic. If you guys would like to be a part of that and be able to, you know, see or hear Coach McVay or Coach Shanahan, and hopefully be able to put together a really good battle rhythm for the spring.
Why keep doing the spring game when so many other programs have decided to axe it this year?
Yeah, I kind of love it. You know, I'm a fan at heart, man. I still love my days in college, and I loved when I used to go to the spring game as a college student, or then when I was a chance to be a student assistant for Coach Spurrier, and when he used to let people call plays, and he used to let the younger guys have opportunity on that day. And it was such a fun day when you would watch position coaches become the head coach, the GAs become the position coaches, and all those things that go into the spring game. I think it's awesome. I want all of our students to see football. I want them to come to the stadium, you know, have fun, make it a party, make it a great event. I'm not worried about people trying to steal our players. I love our culture. If a player doesn't want to be on our team, then that's going to be their decision way before a spring game. And we're going to just do everything we can to make this an amazing environment. We want to really make football fun. And to do that, we think we can have a fantastic spring game. So that's why we're going to do it. And then the last thing I want to say is I want to congratulate Coach Spurrier. I have the chance to put him into the Hall of Fame on Friday night, the National Quarterback Hall of Fame. I was asked to be the speaker at that event, and I'm so excited to go down there to Phoenix and be a part of that induction, and just congratulate Coach Spurrier for being in his 5th Hall of Fame. Pretty impressive, right? The National College Hall of Fame, the National High School Hall of Fame. As a player, as a coach in college, the only person that's done that, and then also the University of Florida Hall of Fame. So pretty cool for him. Pretty excited to get down there and celebrate. Thank you.